A lot of people wonder, is this a scam? Why is this? Why are the salespeople so pushy? Why are they acting like I have to sign up now? Why was it important for you to bring your message to the marketplace through social media, maybe a different way than some of these other solar companies go about it, where it's this high pressure, got to do it right now type of approach?
So it's really just understanding, when are homeowners home? When are they using the power? Is it during the day? Are they working from home? Or are they out of the house? When are they using the energy, so that you can size the system properly and set them up with the right amount of storage? Well, firstly, I've been a part of some business masterminds, and they heavily focused on live streaming.
All right, welcome back to the Solar Surge podcast. Hey, if you're new to the Solar Surge podcast, on this channel, we talk to the top CEOs and the top thought leaders in the solar industry and in the solar space. And today I have a very special guest for you, Jaime Greene, the Solar Queen. Yeah, you may know her from Facebook and from Instagram. She's one of those very popular, informative personalities out there who's really just a light of good information in the sea of so much misinformation. She's just a beacon of light of just really good information in the solar space. Jaime Greene has been in the solar industry for many, many years. She's in the Northern California, San Francisco area, and so has a lot of familiarity with PG&E territory and that market. And so, Jaime, welcome to the Solar Surge podcast, and thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Joe. It's an honor to be on your podcast and show today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've been looking forward to this interview for some time now. I'm really looking forward to learn more about you and your path in solar. And I guess maybe we should just start there for those that don't know you already. How did you first become involved in the solar energy industry, and why did you want to get involved in the renewable space?
Well, I kind of say that I wasn't searching for the solar industry. It kind of found me. I had been kind of busy raising a family or having a family, and I had gotten to the point where I was ready to contribute back to my family in a financial way. And a friend of mine had reached out to me on Facebook, and just we reconnected, and I asked him what he was up to, and he said, "Oh, I'm helping a friend grow and scale their solar business." And meanwhile, I was learning the digital marketing, social media marketing aspect of just business in general, and was looking to help small to medium-sized businesses get more social media presence and create, website, landing page, whatnot, to then generate leads. So I was going that route while he was doing this, and so I asked more questions, and my first thought was, well, maybe I can help generate leads for his company or his friend's company. And what he was doing was reaching out to see if I wanted solar for my own home, because he knew I lived in California, and that's where their company was based. And so one thing led to another, and I had a solar consultant come out to my house, do the solar presentation, and I sent him on his way. I didn't get solar that day, but it made sense. So I said, "Oh, I want to do what he does." And he goes, "Oh, you want to sell solar?" I go, "Well, yeah." So that's kind of how I got into it. And they agreed to let me self-generate for them, not take on any of the company leads, but just do my own. And within 3 months, I think I had like 10 referrals or people interested in solar, and 8 of them said yes, signed up for solar, got solar installed. And they're like, "How are you doing this? Like, you're like Jaime Greene, the Solar Queen." And that's how I got my name. So I didn't name myself this, but I leveraged social media. I learned as much as I could about solar so I could articulate it in an easy to understand way. And I think that's really what it came down to. And that's how I got into the industry. So they agreed to let me self-generate and work on my own terms and schedule. And that's how it happened. So kind of not really interesting, but that's that's why I say it found me. I wasn't looking for it, but I was ready to say yes, kind of a thing. So, and this was 4.5 years ago that happened. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations, because I mean, looking at your content and your brand and just how you position yourself, I would have thought you've been doing it for longer. But I think that just goes to show you that, solar is such a valuable opportunity for somebody who is prepared and really comes to it with the right attitude and the right energy. And I think you've got all of that, and that's a lot that comes through with what you put out there.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I think it was so fascinating to me, and the idea that people could power their lives with the sun, and it would be at least here in California, less money than what they're paying the utility company. And mind you, the interest, or not the interest, but interest rates have gone up. But the cost of energy has nearly doubled since I got into the industry in 4.5 years. And so the savings are even that much more significant. But that was, it was something that I felt good about, that I could get behind and put my name behind. And so that really was it. It was something I could believe in and help. And I learned as much as I could, and then whatever I learned, I shared. And that's kind of how it all started, really, was just using platforms, Facebook, Instagram. Not really Instagram. I don't really get very many leads off Instagram, but at least it's, they always say be present everywhere. And so I'm trying to do that even to this day. But the social media has really, really helped amplify my message. And same with you, like your YouTube channel and what you do for consumers that are interested in solar and learning about the products and about solar. It's really a helpful, useful thing, platform to be able to communicate to people.
Yeah, well, of course, we're all in on social media over here. And I know, we do more on YouTube. I know you're more on some of the other platforms, but you touched on, like, solar is amazing in the sense that, it's a solution that basically pays for itself. I mean, for most homes, if the home is a good candidate, it pretty much pays for itself. And you can earn a good living for yourself and your family helping people through this solar process. And that, I think that's what you and I do.
Yeah.
But Jamie, as you know, solar has also kind of gotten a bad rap for a lot of reasons. A lot of people wonder, is this a scam? Why are the salespeople so pushy? Why are they acting like I have to sign up now? Why was it important for you to bring your message to the marketplace through social media, maybe a different way than some of these other solar companies go about it, where it's this high pressure, got to do it right now type of approach?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a funny way, the thing that I wanted to do and offer was services, or marketing services in a sense, to generate leads and whatnot. And when I started doing research of what was the marketing message, or what were the campaigns looking like, and what were other people doing to generate leads, I noticed early on that it was a bit misleading to the homeowners, or to the people that they were trying to get their message out to. Things like government programs, or free solar, or no cost solar, those type of messages. Just, I had heard about companies getting in trouble by attorney generals, things like that, of states, where it was misleading marketing. Saw all of this, and I was like, this isn't true. This isn't quite accurate. And if people are being misled or deceived at the front end, and then they find out later on that it's actually there is a price to it. There is a loan, or there's they have to pay cash. If they pay cash, they have to pay a down, things like that. I needed the marketing message to line up with me, as the solar queen, but also for people to be steered in the right direction. So I learned from, I guess you could call them the people that I wanted to compete with in marketing, that this isn't the right message. So I need to share the right message so that people were set up for success from the front end. So there were no surprises or gotchas, or solar's a scam. I really just wanted to do it with integrity and honesty. And I think that speaks for itself after 4.5 years of helping homeowners go solar without really, I've paid $350 in ad spend. And it was a test with a video, and it led to a deal. But I think, watching the solar companies doing the marketing, paying for the marketing, I just really wanted to align with what actually was happening in the industry or what we offer. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that comes through a lot in your content too. I mean, a lot of it sounds more like you're educating than you're marketing anything. And
Right.
so and this is one of the things. So I obviously have a similar belief in the fact that, hey, if you can just give the homeowners the information, then if they decide that this is a good thing for them, then chances are they'll be willing to buy from you if they want to buy something. And
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you don't have to twist it. You don't have to you don't have to pressure them into doing it. It's more about, hey, here's how it works. A lot of my content is also kind of, hey, see, here's how it works. Here are the numbers. And if it makes sense, and if you want to get one, call me. I can get you one.
Right.
And
Yeah. And I think, for some people, I mean, you're on video, I'm on video. I also think that there are people that are not comfortable with it, and so they don't turn on the camera, they don't make a video, they don't share it on social media or on YouTube or the Facebook ad platforms or wherever it might be TikTok too. But so I think where maybe people aren't comfortable doing that, or they don't know how to do it, they might not have the skill set, which is learned. I mean, you kind of have to get, if you go back to some of my earlier content, it was probably not so good, but the more you do it, the more, comfortable you get in front of the camera and whatnot. But for those that don't want to do or don't even know that that's possible, they do hire the lead generation companies, and I would call it a slippery slope. People say that's what it takes to scale and whatnot. But I have always seen it as the cart before the horse. You have to put out all this money and get the leads, and maybe they're not going to be the greatest leads, or maybe they DQ because their credit's really bad because they think it's free. I mean, it's a slippery slope of which way it could go. And so I like to control the conversation in that, like you said, I'm leading with education, a consultative approach, and a very personable approach. Like when people reach out to me, they already know me from YouTube content or Facebook or a referral, and so they're comfortable already talking to me because at the end of the day we are doing a sales transaction with them, and people sometimes don't like salespeople, and so I had to get over that for a long time. I had to get over the fact that I am a salesperson. No, I'm just transferring knowledge and information for them to make an educated decision if this is what they want to do and how they want to move forward. And so yeah, that's the approach that I definitely have taken to generate business for myself and my family. So
no, that's amazing. That's amazing. And as you know, there are salespeople out there. You touched on one thing, for example, which is the solar lead generation industry. And I've actually seen that a lot of people that I would say maybe they were attracted to solar sales because they were attracted to, there's this huge commission potential because the projects are so large. Well, a lot of them have now pivoted to selling solar leads to other struggling solar salespeople. And I see a lot of folks think, if I just hire the right lead company, I'll have tons of appointments and tons of opportunities. The reality is, as you said, it can be a very slippery slope. You have to pay for those leads. You don't know the quality. And some of these companies, I mean, I've tried probably at least a half dozen of them myself. And there's one company that I would recommend. I actually just had a chance to have them on the podcast, which might come out before this one, or this one might come out. But Solar Reviews is the one company I've used that their leads are high quality leads. But even he'll tell you, Andy, the owner there will tell you, is like, probably only 5 to 10% of our leads are going to buy anything. And that's just what it is. But if you know what that is if it's a predictable conversion rate, then you can budget accordingly. And he also would accurately set the expectation. It's like, look, many of these leads are not going to buy immediately when you give them a presentation. Many of them are going to take 2, 3, maybe even 4 months to make a decision. But eventually those that want to do business with you will come back around. And so if you're not prepared for that, especially as a newcomer, if you don't have the financial stamina, to put out ad spend and then wait 3 or 4 months for sales to come back in, and then 2 months after that for commissions to be paid out, then you may need to look at something and this is a lot of folks, you may need to look at something like social media to get started, because I don't think there's anything else out there where if you have a good message and good information, where you can get that message out in front of a lot of people for relatively no ad spend. And
right. Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say never. I've knocked one door for solar. Like, I physically have knocked one door, and I have to give props to the guys and gals that are outdoor knocking, because it's not something that I would necessarily want to do or have the time to do. But my neighbor across the street, their roof is like needs to be replaced. Like, that's the main concern. I've been looking at this roof for 10 years, and for 10 years it looks like it's needed to be replaced. And I finally knocked on their door. And I was like shaking. I was so nervous because I don't even talk to them all that much. We just kind of say hi and wave to each other when we do see each other. But I've always been the one to be like, I don't want to be the one that says, oh, solar, 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 you got to get solar. It's to the point now where people know that I do solar. If they want solar, they can reach out. They know how to reach out to me. But these people did not know I did solar. And so I went over there and knocked the door. She was on a Zoom meeting, and she goes, I'll come over to your house. So she ended up actually knocking on my door, and I answered it. And we talked a little bit about the roof situation, but they're not ready to do anything. They had other priorities. But it's just one of those things, where what's the solution, or what can you do to get business or eyeballs on your content at least? And I always think of it, and I've watched different YouTube like content creators on creating content, and I think of every video that I create as a little mini salesperson. Like, it's out there, people can watch it. If I need to update content, I will, which I do. I have a bunch of new YouTube videos that I need to create with the new net metering changes here in California and whatnot. But every little video is a little a little salesperson of mine, a little messenger, and they all point back to how they can reach out and contact me. But for people outdoor knocking, they're out there hustling. They know how many doors that they need to knock to get an appointment, and how many. I mean, the numbers all kind of speak for themselves. But it's a lot of doors that you have to knock, or it's a lot of leads that you have to generate through a lead generation company to, 100 leads, 10 appointments, 2 to 3 closes, I think is kind of the standard industry standard that I've heard when I talk to people who pay for leads. And so it's just a lot of follow-up and all of the things once you get that lead in and start nurturing the lead, or the customer. So it's a numbers game at the end of the day, but it's the organic way of how I'm doing it. It's a different game. I feel like it's a different. It's a client that's saying, I'm interested in solar. I connect with you. I like your information that you're sharing, and I want to possibly do business with you. And so I'd rather do that than knocking the doors. Personally, because I'm female and I have 3 kids and I have a really tight schedule, so I don't have the luxury of going out and knocking on doors and whatnot. So yeah, I just think that educating the end user or the client is really important, and to capture if you can capture their attention and help them, then I think that's awesome. I'd like to see more people do that, actually, to be honest. Like, it would be really awesome to see more people do that, but I haven't found very many or seen very many people do this yet. So.
Yeah, well, I agree 100%. I mean, education and information, that's the best way to build that relationship with a client. Because if you can provide some value up front before they have to invite you into their home, or even commit to a meeting time with you, if you can be providing value up front through the social media content, then when it is time to finally sit down, you're already in a position of trust, and there's some equity in the relationship.
Yes.
Now, Jaime, I know one thing that I think keeps a lot of content creators or aspiring content creators from getting started is they feel like they just don't know what to talk about. So maybe if there's somebody out there, maybe somebody that's in our industry that follows both of us, but they just haven't taken that step to start posting yet themselves. What advice would you give as far as what to talk about, like video topics or post topics? Where should they get started?
Well, what I started doing, I actually ended up getting two solar systems on my house and a battery and EV charger. I'm all in with solar. So I walk the talk or talk the walker. I don't even know I walk the walk. Is that right? What is the saying where you walk the talk? Yes, I think that's it. So I just started documenting my solar journey. Gary Vaynerchuk is always saying just document, press record, document. So that's what I ended up doing. So I documented my own process of going solar. And that's really where I started understanding the process of solar and everything that has to happen before a solar system gets turned on. So I would do that. I started documenting that. And it literally was with my iPhone. Whoops, I just turned on the camera. The flashlight. But I literally would pull out my camera and I would record. I would just record and I would talk into the camera, and then I would upload it or I would post it. So I got very familiar with the installation process, from the site survey. I would try and go to the site survey. So I would say if someone's out there and they sold a deal, go to the site survey and just observe, or maybe just see what happens so that you can explain to a homeowner what happens in a site survey. I was very involved with the process. And so then, if the plan sets come through, you want to look at the plan sets, you want to be able to articulate to the homeowner what's on the plan set, so that's another thing that you could talk about. This is the process of going solar. This is what we're going to do. Like, there's so many things that you can make content on, and it can just be one thing. It doesn't have to be the whole entire process. But I ended up making like a playlist on my YouTube channel of what to expect when going solar. So it was kind of like a spinoff of what to expect when you're expecting, because I'm a mother of 3 kids, and every mother probably has read that book or watched, even they made a movie off of it. But I made a little brief video playlist of what to expect when you're going through this process. And it was just a tool, and it was a way for me to help practice creating content that was valuable, that anyone could watch at any time, because it's kind of evergreen. Those two need to be updated with the net metering for California. I'll have to put in a new video there. But you could write out like the top 10 reasons to go solar and make a video on every single, like, why. Or you can go and do a poll. What questions, or if you had a question about solar, you could do this on social media. What questions do you have, or what are, what don't you like about, or whatever it could be. And you could just answer the questions, like create a video and answer the questions. Just practice and hit the record button, do a little editing, and then uploading it. Or what I do is I'll go live and if there's something that I want to talk about, something that's new or something, I'll go live on Facebook, Instagram, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the different little platforms. And people will hop on and they'll ask questions, or I'll, share, like the net metering changeover. That was a big topic. So I talked about that for many, many months leading up to it. I mean, I went to rallies. So I would create content of me going to the rally and, just whatever it might be that you think would be of value to the end viewer, to just create awareness. Like you start with awareness and then interest, and it's the whole funnel, right? From cold to warm to hot. And so every little piece of content that you can think of, if you have questions about it and then you found the answer and you want to share the answer, then make a video about it. There's so many ways. Like your content's so heavy on the actual components of the solar systems and like doing reviews. At least those are the videos that I watch of yours. And I think they're wonderful. And I'm like, I am not a technical equipment expert. I do know how they work, and I can talk about it with the homeowner sitting in their living room or their kitchen table or on a Zoom, but I am not, that's not what my content's about. It's more of the whole picture and how we can get this done and put on their house, and then they can benefit from the solar system installed. So there's different angles people can take and create. And it really just has to kind of center around their personality as well, because we're all communicators and it's a matter of picking how you want to do it. How do you want to create? Do you want to do a slide deck presentation and put it up there, or do you want to just sit in front of a camera and talk about content or create content that talks about a topic that people might have questions about? There's lots of different ways to create the content. So I do a lot of research and then create content around that.
Okay. Well, I mean, you've mentioned a number of different platforms. So I know you're active on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. What would you say is your favorite social platform for solar information, and why?
Well, I really like YouTube because it's a search engine at the end of the day, as you know. So if people are searching things up on Google or YouTube, you can cater your message to the thing that the people are searching for. So I like that. It probably has had the greatest ROI for my business alone in 2022 and 2023. I do ask a question. If someone self-sets an appointment with me, I will ask them, well, do we have a mutual friend, or how did you hear about me? And they'll say, oh, YouTube. It's usually YouTube or Facebook or a referral. So those are my two favorite platforms are YouTube and Facebook. Facebook, I feel like it's much more of a two-way street. You know who's on the other end, versus YouTube, it's kind of anonymous. Like, you don't know who's watching your content until they go to my website and they fill out the form. And I don't even, I should probably add a field that says, how did you hear of me? But I usually know it's usually YouTube or Facebook. But I would say those are my two favorite platforms to share content on. LinkedIn to some degree. I even have it stream out to Twitter, but I'm not a big Twitter. I look at Twitter, but I don't tweet very much. And so, yeah, those would be the three. And then Instagram, I do share things there, here and there on Instagram. But the YouTube and Facebook are my two favorite platforms for putting out content.
That's great. That's great. Well, one of the things I noticed too is, first is the amount of engagement that you're getting on your Facebook page, your Facebook following is just excellent. But one of the things I noticed that you incorporate into your content is you will do live streaming Q&A type of meetings, not just pre-recorded. A lot of what I do is pre-recorded. Even this interview here, we're on a live call now, but by the time it's edited and published, it's just going to be a video that people can play at their own pace. Mm-hmm. How is the live stream format? How has that been important for you, and how do you think that should fit into somebody's social media strategy?
Well, firstly, I've been a part of some business masterminds, and they heavily focused on live streaming. So I took probably, I'd say a couple of months to understand it and learn it and get it all set up. And at the end of the day, it's very simple. But you have to get over the fear of what people think about you. Like, that's probably the one thing that holds people back is, if I go live or if I say something, what if I say the wrong thing? Or what if no one watches? I think that was the biggest thing. I'm like, they said, share it anyways. I think it was Russell Brunson that said he did live webinars for many, many months before anyone watched it. And he's like, it doesn't matter. Just create the content. Just go live. And then when people start showing up and start watching your content, you'll sound like you know what you're talking about, or that you don't have any fear, or you don't have any worries of what will people think if they see me go live. And the fact of the matter is, even when I do go live, I have I don't even know how many people I have on Facebook, maybe 3,500 friends or whatnot. Only a small fraction of them are even going to see that live, and there only a few fraction of the people that see that I'm live are actually going to tune in. So I do get a lot of views and engagement, and I personally love when people ask questions and chime in, because then it's a conversation, because then it's really I'm really catering the content to the viewer who's watching the live stream, who's willing to type in a question. They probably have the same thought maybe 10 to 50 other people have. And so then I can really, really hone in and answer the question that they have specific about solar or batteries or how it all works. I can answer it to that one person, but it'll answer it to many. So I like the engagement. I feed off of live streams when people actually are watching. And so I've played around with different times of day of when people are probably should be working, but they're watching the live stream. And I enjoy it. And I do live stream out to all the different platforms. So I'll have people watching on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook all at the same time. And so I kind of know where they're watching at the same time. So I love it. I think it's important because it's off the cuff. There's no editing. There's no hiding. And so some people might go, well, I'm not an expert enough, but I still think you should go live. I still think you should do it. You can always go back and download the live stream and upload it to platforms where, I don't know if people use Vimeo or what, but Vimeo is a place where you can upload content. YouTube's a place where you can upload content. All the different platforms you can upload content. That's actually how I do upload my live streams to Instagram, because I can't stream live to Instagram with all the other platforms. So if I do a live and I think, oh, this is really good for Instagram, I'll upload it, and I think it's IGTV or something, but I do enjoy the live streaming, and it has served my business well.
That's great. No, you do an excellent job at it. So I'm a student of you in this respect, and that's something that I'd like to work into our content schedule here at Solar Surge. But one of the things that jumped out to me, what you said, was that you love it when you get questions from the audience, because a lot of times, guys, as content creators, we're wondering like, hey, what should I talk about? What should I make a video about? So if you can get on live with one of your audience and they're saying, hey, I'd like to know about this, well, that's great as a creator, because you can say, okay, well, great, let me teach you about that. I mean, if it's a subject that you know. Now, if it's something that you don't know, you may have to go do your research and come back later. But so having that, go ahead.
Well, I'll say if someone asks a question and I don't know the answer, I'll just say, that's a great question and I don't know the answer to it. So I'm going to find out and I'll let you know. And then just leave it at that. And then you can go and do the research and then create a whole entire video or live stream around that. So it's like a kind of a fun playground. If you can, I think the number one thing is getting over the fear of what if people don't watch? Doesn't matter. Do it anyways. And just getting over the fear of what will people think about me if I go live? Because I don't know very many people who go. I do know some people who go live, but it might be a struggle or a challenge. But do it anyways, because you're only going to grow from it and help more people. Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's probably what holds most people back, is they just don't want to put themselves out there that first time. But once you do it, it does become easier. At least that's what I found. It does become easier. And once you kind of get used to the idea of seeing yourself on a screen or on a device, and it's like, hey, I guess I look like I should be there. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. It gets easier. It gets easier from there. But Jaime, if we could switch gears a little bit here and talk more about what's going on in California. Now, I know you're right there in Northern California, PG&E territory. We just had the net metering 2.0 to 3.0 switchover took effect about a month ago. What are you seeing there in Northern California in terms of solar activity? How are things different, or are they different now than they were, let's say, 3 months ago?
Oh, yeah. It has definitely slowed down, at least for me and for all the people I know in California. I think that this is just the natural reaction to the changes that have occurred in the last, it's now almost a month that the net metering 2.0 went away and we're now into net metering 3. I myself personally have gone and signed up for training to understand what the state of Hawaii and people selling in Hawaii did when they just did away with their net metering. So I'll do a little shout out to the Maui solar guy. He spoke at a recent solar conference about what to do now with net metering 3.0 for if you're in sales, and how to educate and inform the homeowners properly of what they need. So he put on some training. I paid the money to attend the training, and I'm glad I did. I thought I had a good understanding of how to size systems and what to do. And whatnot. But it's just that having the edge and setting up the homeowners from here on out in California with a proper size system and storage. So it was very good to attend that training and be armed with the right information and understanding of how things are going to be going forward from here on out. And I think even all the installers are going to be going through a learning curve. There may be some of the early on homeowners who adopt NEM 3.0 that we'll see. Like, nothing's been installed under NEM 3 and been approved yet in terms of PTO. So we won't really, I think it's going to take a while. And when I say a while, maybe 6 months to a year until that first true up comes through, where some installers or sales organizations may have a steeper, I don't want to say learning curve, but the do's and don'ts with NEM 3.0 from, going forward. So volume, I think, has dropped off the maybe not the leads, but perhaps. But for me, I only have a couple of homeowners who have reached out in the last couple of weeks, partly because I kind of took the month of April off just to recover from the massive, I think everyone in California, Southern California, had a massive bump in sales and getting in under the buzzard or the NEM 2.0 cutoff. And so I took some time just to recover, but I'm back at it and whatnot. But yeah, it's a different conversation for sure than what NEM 2.0 was. And so it's really just understanding when are homeowners home? When are they using the power? Is it during the day? Are they working from home? Or are they out of the house? When are they using the energy so that you can size the system properly and set them up with the right amount of storage? Because that's going to be the case for every homeowner out there. So if there's solar reps that are listening or watching this, they're really going to have to learn and understand storage and batteries and the different products that are out there. And they can watch your channel because you do a lot of videos on storage and the different batteries that are out on the market. But they really need to understand it so that they can properly set the right expectations with their clients and not do what happened under, the NEM 1 switch to NEM 2, or what solar was like 5-6 years ago in California, where they only sized it to tier shave. We can't really do that anymore. I mean, you can, but it's not the same. So it's really important for solar reps to understand the storage component and sizing the system correctly and going in that direction. So get trained up as much as you can. That's what I'd say. And then make sure your homeowners are getting the right information. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely slowed down. It's a learning curve for everybody. But I don't think it's going to stop. I mean, we're kind of in that sweet spot right now where temperatures are rising in California. Air conditioning is going to start, people are going to start using their air conditioning. They're going to see their first summer bill with the rate increase, with their usage shooting up, and they're going to see they're going to have an expensive electricity bill. And that's when they start thinking, oh, I should get solar. So I think there's still going to be an increase in people interested in solar. It's just the conversation from here on out is solar and storage. And that's the way that's going to be the best situation for the homeowner.
Yep. And I would also say to anybody out there who's maybe come up in the industry selling solar only, where batteries, because I know many solar companies, they will convince the homeowner not even to consider batteries because it's too expensive, or the batteries will catch on fire, and all that. They have a whole set of things that they will say to get the homeowner away from the battery conversation. On the other hand, I've been selling batteries for 10 years. And for the first almost 5 of those 10 years, we didn't do any net metering. So people that were buying from me, they wanted batteries, they wanted self-sufficiency. The electric bill savings, any kind of savings, that was just icing on the cake. The main goal was energy independence. And so if you're a young sales rep out there, I just want to encourage you, there are people that still want solar with batteries, even if there is no electric bill savings, or even if it's just a break even. There are people that want it because they want it. And I'm one of those people. I want energy independence. Whether it saves me or not, I want it because I want it. And I believe in the technology. I believe philosophically in the idea of generating and using your own clean energy. And so for people like me, if you can hang in there in the conversation and you can have an intelligent conversation about battery storage and the battery storage options, people like me will continue to buy because it's helping us get to the goal that we want, which is an energy independent, a clean energy or a renewable energy independent situation. So Jamie, how about you? What are you seeing in terms of attachment rates? Have you done a lot of work with batteries in the past, or is it something you're just getting into? What can you share with us?
No, I embraced storage. I remember a homeowner going, "I want a battery," and I talked them out of the battery. Actually, I didn't talk them out of the battery. You know what I talked myself out of is helping that homeowner go solar and get a battery. They went to somebody else that would sell them a battery. Because in my mind, it still didn't pencil out. So I had to remove my objections or my bias of batteries are too. It didn't matter. If a homeowner wants a battery, you give them the battery and you let them justify that in their purchasing decision. I learned that early on. So ever since then, if somebody says to me, I want storage or I want a battery, and I just, in California with net metering too, this utility company was the big backup battery. So batteries in itself with the solar is a complete system, self-reliance and this and that, backup power, if the grid goes down. But people wanted it more for the peace of mind of, we went through, I think it was 3 years ago, we went through, maybe 2 years ago, a 5-day power outage in the state of California, at least where I was at, 5 days. And every homeowner who did not have a battery but had solar, their solar wasn't working for them. And for some reason, people think, oh, I have solar, the power goes out, I'll still have my solar. And in theory, they should, but that's just not how it works. So everyone after that were scared to death of what happens if the grid goes down for multiple days because of a fire or wind or a storm or whatnot. And so I saw a huge bump in the want and the need and desire for storage. And so ever since that, trying to talk a homeowner out of getting a battery, I don't do that anymore. I give them the battery if they want. And so all different kinds of batteries I've sold, had installed. There's some batteries on the market that had some recall issues, and we're working through that to this day with some of these homeowners from a few years back with warranties and RMAs and whatnot. But for the most part, people that have their batteries are happy that they have their backup power if the grid does go down. But they also like knowing that they are independent, they're self-reliant for the most part. And it's just that peace of mind. It used to be peace of mind. Now it's peace of mind and reliability of energy at any given time of the day, regardless. Like if they have the right solar system set up and enough storage. So yeah, but now you have to sell the batteries. I don't care what anyone says. You still need to sell the batteries with the solar now under NEM 3. So yeah, I have a Tesla Powerwall myself. I can show my solar production. I can show my storage. I can show self-consumption versus backup power. I can adjust it how I want. I'm happy with the Powerwall so far. So there's a lot of storage coming out on the market. It is what it was that I had available to me at the time when I got it. And so that's what I ended up with. And I'm very, very happy with it. And I'm glad we have the battery.
Absolutely. By the way, a lot of people think that I'm being paid by some of Tesla's competitors to prop up other products. Just for the record, Tesla Powerwall is one of the batteries that I sell. I sell probably most of the other ones that I talk about too. So it's not like I only have to do one brand or the other. And for what it's worth, from what I'm hearing from my installer partners and just other installers that I know through the industry, is that the Tesla Powerwall over the long term is actually the lowest maintenance battery available. And just in terms of number of times that the install company has to come back out to do service or do upgrades on the unit, the Powerwall is pretty much a set it and forget it type of battery. So I definitely think it's a good product to consider. It's definitely got a place in the marketplace. There are others that might have a little bit more oomph or a little bit more horsepower for those that are looking for whole home backup. But I think the Tesla Powerwall is a solid product. And frankly, I think there's going to be a lot more deployments now. As Jamie said, batteries are going to be part of pretty much every California solar system going forward. And so understanding the pros and cons and the different choices that are available, I think if you want to set yourself apart from the pack in terms of a sales professional, understanding batteries is definitely something that you want to make time for.
Yeah, and you can go all into the technical aspect of batteries, but most homeowners, they're not thinking that way. They just want to know that if the power goes out, are they going to have power to their essential loads? And most of the time it's for the food. Like right before that 5-day power outage, it was funny. I was at a resiliency fair, having a booth for the county of Marin where I live. And that was the day that they announced that they're cutting the power at 5 p.m. And the power was cut. And we had no clue how long this was going to last. And before the announcement came that they were cutting the power on that day, I had gone to Costco. I had loaded up my freezer with, chicken and beef and all the things, to restock my freezer and my refrigerator. And we didn't have a battery at the time. So everyone was prepping, like filling up their water, anything that they could to pack their freezers to make their frozen foods last longer and just keep it shut. Don't even open the door. We did crazy things, and I'm sitting here going, we have solar, but we can't even use it. We don't have any way to keep our refrigerator. We didn't have a generator. There were a couple of people who had generators, and they were loud and obnoxious, and you always have to maintain the generator, you have to fuel the generator and this and that. But when we got the Powerwall and we got the battery, we actually were able, and this is only in certain circumstances, but we were able to avoid the main panel upgrade, which was going to require trenching and going through a long, arduous process to do that. We were able to avoid that and let the second solar system we were having installed, there was enough backfeed in the Powerwall gateway. So there are additional benefits to certain batteries that can help avoid things like that. So so for us, it made a lot of sense to do that. And any battery in California at this point in time is better than no battery. So people might have particular brands that they are married to and love and want. And if they can do that, then great. But if they can't, then I'd still say it still is a worthwhile thing to have storage, regardless of the brand. The people that are helping consult the homeowners are just going to need to know the pros and cons, if they want to know the pros and cons, the limitations, or what the capacity of the battery. And that's that. Like, it's, most homeowners are not going to get into the nitty-gritty of the technical aspects of batteries, inverters, and solar panels, for that matter. Most people just want to get in the car and turn the key on or push the button and drive off out of their driveway to work or wherever it is. And I'd say that's, at a high level, the same is true for solar. There's just a lot of products out on the market that when you have the technical knowledge about them, it just gives you that little edge, and you can give them what they want if you have the ability to. I don't have access to all the batteries on the market, but whatever battery, I'll say, these are the batteries I have available. Which battery would you like? If they go, I don't care, you're the expert, I'll make a decision based off a lot of different other things, other things that we've just discovered through the discovery call, what's best for them. But at the end of the day, a battery is the battery, and it's gonna be there for them when they need it.
So real quick then, let's keep kind of following that train of thought. So if there's a homeowner out there that's watching this and they've been considering solar for a while, they don't know batteries, and I know maybe they might find my content way too technical in terms of volts and watts and surge and all this. What does a homeowner who's thinking about this need to know about batteries in today's solar environment?
Well, I think the consultant needs to know enough about the batteries in terms of, I think people still believe that you only need one battery to back up the whole home, and that is not the case. So There is some technical stuff that the consultant needs to understand. But with that, then you can ask the right questions to the homeowner. What would you like to back up if there is a power outage, say for 5 days? What are the things? If you live in a hot area and you have to have air conditioning because it's 115 degrees outside, maybe you do need multiple batteries to back up the air conditioning to be able to run it. Or if it's just basic things like lights, the TV, the modem, or the internet connection, and the refrigerators, then okay, well, this is you only need one battery, or maybe you need two, and this is the capacity, this is how much stored energy you have. It's asking the right questions so you're serving the customer with what they actually want to do. Like, it's kind of crazy to me to think that in America, we have, in some areas, we have unreliable grid. Like, we have an unreliable grid at times, rolling blackouts or brownouts and whatnot. And we don't have stability in our energy supply during certain times of the year because there's so much demand on the grid. With solar, and if you do set it up properly, if you have a big enough solar system, that's the key. You have to have enough solar to feed the house and the battery, let alone 2 or 3 batteries. You just need to set them up with if the power went out for multiple days, would they make it through and be okay and happy with it? If that's the homeowner's goal. Like, if they don't want to have their life disrupted whatsoever, like regardless of what's going on with their neighbors, they might open up their freezer to neighbors that need to store their food or medicine or whatever, and they'll be the hero of their neighborhood. But they really need to understand what is it that the homeowner is wanting to accomplish and pretend like the utility company wasn't there. Like with the right amount of storage, with the right amount of solar. And if the roof can even house all the solar and the batteries and everything that needs to happen. So I would say it's really important to understand the goals of that homeowner and then do everything you can to set them up with the right equipment.
Excellent. Yep. All professional selling starts with needs analysis. I always say that. You can't prescribe a solution until you know what the goals and what the problem are. So very good stuff. Well, Jaime, I know we're almost getting out of time here in the hour that we have, but is there anything else that the audience should know? I guess just, again, given the environment that we're in, NEM3, interest rates going up, what do people out there need to know about how they approach solar, and if they're a solar sales professional, what do they need to know?
Well, I think they need to know that rates are going to continue to climb across America. I think I remember when rates were 16 cents a kilowatt hour here in California, and now they're pushing 50, 60 cents a kilowatt hour. You probably know the gas analogy of if you could go back in time and lock in a rate per gallon, a rate or a price per gallon for your car if you drive a gas-powered car. I drive a Tesla now, so now I'm like, what's the lowest levelized cost per kilowatt hour I can lock in, and you can drive your car for, I'm kind of a nerd about all that stuff, but it goes back to that, locking in a levelized cost per kilowatt hour for your home. And, asking those questions like, how long are you going to be in this home? Are you planning, is this a forever, I always ask, is this a forever home? And if people say, this is my forever home, then I say, then trust me, do it now. Because you can hedge yourself against rate increases. You'll have your home being powered by renewable energy, and you'll save a lot of money by doing so. It's just, I would say, look into it, do it. I tell people who reach out to me, go out and get multiple quotes. I think that's important to do, because the reason why I say that is I've had so many people come to me with quotes that they've received from other solar companies, and there is an element of price gouging. I'm not the cheapest person on the market, but I am very fair and reasonable, and I provide services even afterwards. I have people contacting me about, hey, I have a question about this, or getting referrals from people I helped 4 years ago. So when you take care when they're taken care of, they're gonna, and people, more and more people are hearing about solar or learning about solar. They'll ask the people that they know who have solar, who did you work with, and this and that, and you want to treat them with respect and good information and whatnot. But I've seen some quotes come across that they were willing to sign, and they were for sure price gouged. So for that reason, get at least 3 quotes, and then hopefully you have served them with enough value and expertise and knowledge that they want to work with you. That being said, for the homeowners though, it's the right time to go solar. And for people in California, the storage is very, very important. So try to look past what the added cost would be for storage and solar, and get the complete package, because otherwise you're going to be left paying for energy that you consume that solar's not producing for you. After the sun sets, you're going to be paying those retail rates as they continue to increase over time. So, I mean, I've heard rumors of 70 cents a kilowatt hour during peak hours in San Diego, down in SDGE. I just can't even imagine that. It's like, let me put the solar on your house. You pay me for the solar instead of the utility. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a PPA, but it's like, don't continue to be subject to rate increases. And there's talk about some things changing with the utilities and rates and fees and all that being standardized based off of income levels. We'll see what happens there. But for now, I would just say protect yourself from future rate increases. Because I remember driving a car and filling up gas, this is going to age me, for 94 cents or 96 cents or 96 cents a gallon. We don't see that anymore. I mean, we're paying $5 a gallon for gas here in California on average. So anyone that knew that they could lock it in, even at say $2 a gallon, would have done that. So that's, I think, a really relevant analogy even to this day for what it can be like for people that get solar on their home.
Great. Well, folks, this is Jaime Greene, the Solar Queen. Again, find her at JamieGreene, You can find her on Instagram, Facebook, on her YouTube channel. And Jaime, just want to say thank you again for spending time to sit down with us. And I'm really looking forward to work with you on some new videos as well as part of the Solar Surge community. So really appreciate your time. And let's work on getting some great information out there, especially about battery storage. What homeowners need to know as we go into this new phase of solar in California and just in general.
Sounds great, Joe.
Well, folks, I guess that pretty much does it for today's podcast. As always, I appreciate you spending some time with Solar Surge. And until then, this is Joe Ordia, encouraging you to get prepared and be empowered. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next podcast.